Underdog Daily with the Badge Bros, John and Mike Zakarian today, filling in for our guy Nez. We haven't done a show since we did Double Dribbles in the summer together there, but consume a ton of his content with the NBA bit. If you guys are not subbed up to that, it is pinned in the chat on the right-hand side there. A great way to kick off your drafting day with an hour of Mike Zakarian in the mornings there. Mike, what's good, my friend?
What's going on, guys? Being in New York, I feel like I need to go full Nez now and just go have myself a kid, since I can't really get into the lobbies right now. I got some more free time.
Hey, I mean, you could turn into New Jersey Mike, like our guy Nick has become New Jersey Nick, finding himself in the top 5 last night.
Dude, I was talking to Nick about that, and it is tempting. I know I will do that at some point. The level of tilt I will have if I commute and then lose. Like I already am not like a great live tilter anyways. If I am now doing math of being like, well, it took me 30 minutes to get to New Jersey, and then how much money did I spend in New Jersey, and then I 30 minutes back? Oh man, I would be a nightmare to be around. Also explaining to my wife, being like, well, no, yeah, I did lose $750, but I also went to New Jersey.
Yeah, I also spent 3 hours on the train for no reason.
Yeah, sick.
Oh man,
Nick
I commend
though. Nick is built different.
Yeah, I was about to say I commend him for doing so. Hopefully that's resolved here in the future. But for now, we're gonna have to draft vicariously through me, my friend. I'll be what's the word for it? Your syndicate, is that the word for it?
Oh yeah,
draft game. Your draft game syndicate there. Mike, last time we did a show, one thing that you can still sweat right now was double dribble season. Do we still have anything live in the streets there in this 6-week playoff?
Yeah, I think I had a fun sweat going for the first 3 weeks. What are we on, week 4 right now? The first 3 weeks I was flirting with somewhere between top 10 and top like 40. And I think for people who are still sweating right now, Jokic sitting that first game this week, and then Tatum being on a 3-game week and sitting one of them kind of nuked a lot of lineups not with Giannis in it. So I had a team that was battling that dropped I think it's like 250 now. So I got a couple of teams like in the 250s that are still have a puncher's chance, but hard to do it if your main guys sitting out games.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that was always the knock on NBA DFS or NBA best ball as like a whole. There was like, how do we mitigate and manage through silly season? I think this is probably the best way to go about it, but it is tough with the weekly scoring dynamic of it, where it's like, as you alluded to, if you're getting 1 start from Joker this week juxtaposed to 3 starts from Giannis, it's like, well, that could be curtains.
Yeah, you're cooked there. And I think another interesting wrinkle is like Miles Bridges has been weirdly important this last couple of weeks, and he also sat a game too. So a lot of teams who their wing depth was essentially made up of Tatum and Bridges, and now both missing games kind of cooked them. But I don't know. It's like such week to week that you come back to me in like 2 weeks and maybe that team has jumped back up there if Giannis sits a little bit. But you're right. I don't really know what the answer is. I know like Underdog has tweaked it a bunch the last couple of years. I think this is the closest that they've come to nailing it. The fact that we're at the back half of this sprint sweat, and this seems to be the first week where it's been, haywire, I think is a good sign, I guess.
Yeah, I love this discourse, like just in general around the games, because, we're always constantly trying to strive to improve and that sort of deal. But just, I'm always thinking like this site is set up for football and football adjacent scoring. And all of that scoring was then ported to other sports. And that, are there better ways in the future with some tech help on the back end that we could play basketball, that we could play baseball, because, week by week scoring maybe isn't it for those contests, or maybe it is. And maybe that's the beautiful wrinkle of these games. But I just love picking, your brain and other people in the community's brain on that sort of stuff.
Well, it's funny too, because I think like basketball is perfect for the daily drafts. Like I have no notes on that for the most part. So it is so funny for it to be perfect for daily, and yet such headache sometimes to figure out the structure for best ball. Also, the timing of it is just really tough too, because everybody has just hammered NFL drafts for, for some of you for like 9 straight months, but aggressively those last couple of months. And they're like, okay, now you got 60 days to get in as many NBA best ball drafts as you can. And I think there is a little bit of like draft or best ball fatigue at that point. So it is like a tough needle to thread, I think, for basketball.
Yeah, daily NBA just plays so much better, like just in a vacuum, right? Because of so many mitigating factors as you lined out there. The one thing with baseball right now that I'm really loving is that a lot of football bros and a lot of even the basketball bros are getting in there because there's nothing else to draft in a best ball capacity outside of drafting football that's 9 months out. And those guys are, oh, we'll save our bullets for BBM. Let's do baseball now.
Right.
And
Yeah, I was about to be one of those bros. Like I
yeah,
remember during the playoff sweat for you guys being like, "Oh man, if I'm drafting like albatrosses, I can be drafting dingers, you know?"
exactly.
And
Yeah.
I was ready to do it this year too. So and I even got some rake back today, which is just staring at me, which again, I'm finding like new ways to tilt what's going on in New York. And you sending me $82 that I'm not going to be able to use until like, I don't know, the next time we have a presidential election, it's just fucking staring at me. I'm losing my mind.
that's
Buzz,
train worthy.
yeah, congratulations. We've awarded your gladiator. I'm like, go keep it. Put it towards the outstanding debt.
That's pretty funny. Oh man. I'm taking there's a couple things going on in the chat I want to harp on right now. Nez is in the lobbies right now. We thought we were
Wow.
safe from Nez, but he is still grinding, baby on his lap, and watching Mike Zakarian on the big screen, I imagine there. And I knew I was going to take some heat for this today, so I just have to address it right off the top, Mike. The Flannelverse crossover here. I have a personal story right here. Okay. Nikki and I made a bet that when we got married August of last year, that I was going to cut some weight, I was going to get in shape for the wedding, all this
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of stuff, right? That shit didn't happen, right? Did not take place. I just maintained, right? And she said all those old clothes in your cupboard, if they don't fit after we're married, we're getting rid of them, right? And I have been filibustering and waiting and like, hey, wait till hockey season's over. You know, I'm starting to lose some weight here in the playoffs, like that sort of thing. Anyways, I come home from hockey last night and I kid you not, there was 85 articles of clothing in bags by the front door ready to give away. So I'm quiet protesting by wearing one each day from
I
here
like
on
that.
out. And this was one of them. So today's attire is coming from the bag. The next attire is going to come from the bag just to prove I could still fit in this stuff, Mike.
I like that. I had two thoughts on that. One, as a improv comedian from the early 2010s, all I owned was flannels for about 6 or 7 years. It was all I
It just
rocked, different kinds of flannels. So
it comes
yeah,
with the membership.
yeah, you have to be white, you have to have a beard, and you have to own flannels, and then you can do improv comedy. So that was one thing. The other, I similarly was like, I'm gonna get into shape for my wedding, and then didn't. But now I think that's actually the gal brain move, because every time you look at those photos, right, that's supposed to be when you looked your best, and you're like, look at how great I look now. You know,
Yes,
I think
great
that's the right
point.
move.
Yeah, like look at how mid I was back then.
Right, right. And
Yeah,
now look at
yeah.
it's like 8 years later. Look at me. I look great.
This is good. Can confirm Mike literally only
Oh,
owned
he's in the
flannels.
chat. Let's go. What's going on, man?
Oh, that's good shit. All right, Mike, let's talk a little bit about basketball, because we have to hook up New Jersey Nick here with the best plays as he is on route to New Jersey to register. Got to
He
start
needs
with
to
last
hook
night.
us up.
Yeah, after last night, that is absolutely true. I did not get in the side contest last night. I wanted to try and defend my crown, but timing wise, I got 90 into the main there. Took a little bit of a bath, but Mike, I'm going to tell you something, man. I literally, like, I had a nice winning day, win the side contest the day before. I was on all the right plays, right? I am more proud of telling the people on the paywall stream yesterday about Damian Bow with the zero projection, 36 flat ADP just sitting there for people. And then the hashtag models pushing him up to like 15, 16 by day's end. I am more proud of that than any results I could have had the night before.
That is a W. That is a W. It might not have equaled money, but you got there before the projections did, and I think that should be worth money. Can I ask you this? Because I do this every day.
Mhm.
I do this every day. I'd never heard of Marcus Garrett before. Were you familiar with Marcus Garrett? When I saw
Not
that,
really. I was not familiar. I was not really familiar with Marcus Garrett. I had to do some research on Marcus Garrett
I thought
yesterday.
it was an NFL notification that I was getting about Myles Garrett, and I was like,
Yeah.
Who is who?"
Yeah, we are full-fledged peak silly season with some of these other ones. Like, like AJ Johnson today is going to be stone cold chalk on redacted for the Wizards. Maybe some of that changes with the pool notification, kind of an upgrade in quotations from a doubtful tag to a Q tag. But trending this morning, he was going to be stone cold chalk, and I was like, who? I got to go do some research on AJ Johnson, who randomly played 36 minutes last time out for the Wiz. Yeah, it's pretty sick out here.
I honestly, the whole time you were talking, I was trying to figure out who that was, and I think he was the Bucks rookie that got traded, right?
Yes.
I think he was in
Question mark.
the Middleton
Yeah.
trade. I think.
Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah.
We got to give a shout out to the GOAT, Mount Rushmore here, Sam Olson, aka Sal Mason, for anyone privy to the stuff in the Discord this morning there. But yeah, beautifully constructed team here. Had to get on that zinger stuff before Tatum got ruled out. Gets a little bit of an ADP fall with Kawhi, Draymond as well. I imagine this one was drafted the previous night before, just looking at it, because Draymond was, falling back to the left-hand side of the board last night, or last night, but wasn't doing so once, we got the Warriors injury report and we were dealing with Steph out and that sort of thing. And then Ricochet coming alive there, played a little bit of blowout run as well, which really helped some of the Atlanta pieces outside of Dyson Daniels, because they only had 10 active bodies yesterday. So they still had to throw Mo Gay back out there when he'd only played 18 minutes and go close the game out for 5 minutes. Ricochet, same idea. So yeah, just a nice lineup from Sam here. Any thoughts on last night, Mike?
Ricochet's been coming on strong. Like he's
Yeah.
looked nice. I mean, I know they're kind of skeleton crewing it after making some of the moves they did at the deadline, but he's looking to be like a nice little piece for him. I actually think Atlanta is going to be kind of fun next year if they can stay healthy. I'm curious how they like treat the offseason, but yeah, it was just a gross slate last night. Like 4 games, with one of them being the Brooklyn Nets, who are like unplayable right now, and the Celtics without their stars. So I'm honestly kind of surprised that this lineup looks relatively normal. Like there are no super weird names in there.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, speaking of weird names, yeah, Baylor Sherman. I was watching Sherman. Sherman. I was watching a little bit of that one. He's wearing the number 55. He's got some good ink, and he had a heat check 3 there. Yeah, it was pretty nice to see there. Shout out to our guy T-Box, who's up here on the leaderboard as well, who was getting cancer treatment on his nose for skin cancer today, and still drafting hoops. So truly sicko legend in the community. But actually, now I just saw his name in the chat. Now I'm reading the comment, and now I'm really intrigued by this one. So
yeah, relax.
Yeah, okay. We'll move on here. Shout out to God Skills. Shout out to Magikarp. Shout out to Nick T-Box, as mentioned. Magikarp's up here twice, fully loaded as well. Truly a who's of the Deposit Kingdom at the top of the leaderboard. But the slates move on, and we turn the page. We move on to today. We'll go ahead, eliminate those ranks from here. Mike, obviously, you haven't been in the streets yet, but I'm sure you've looked at the ADP and looked at the landscape right now and some of the Q tags we're dealing with here. Let's just talk about Joker here. Last time versus the Lakers, he wound up playing. Luka did not. That was the nuke game from Austin Reeves there, the 70 burger. That one was in Denver. Tonight we were at the old Crypto this evening. Thoughts on Joker's availability and kind of that push-pull dynamic with Jamal Murray and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, heading into this morning, I thought for sure he was go because it seems so clear to me that they were gassed over the weekend, right after losing that game to Washington, that they were like, the 5 games in 7 nights, we just need to rest some of our guys, so we're ready to go for this playoffs push. I was kind of surprised at the designation. I thought we would have seen a probable. It seems like the Lakers are favored by I'm sorry, the Nuggets are favored by 2.5, which I don't know. I guess he's playing. Like, I think if he wasn't playing, the Lakers would probably be favored here. So I think my lean would be that he's a go. This is also a very important game for seeding purposes. So I think that would be my lean. Is that where you are?
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as you there. I also think that national TV plays a little bit of a factor here. Yeah, that line that I'm looking at right now, -2 by way of Denver here. I am a little skittish on the Q tag, but I do think it's like preemptive to just keep the Q going forward in case they find rest spots in the future here, because he has had that elbow and ankle designation both times over and over again. I'm playing it as if both him and Jamal play this evening. Christian Brown, on the other hand, I'm a little more skittish on. Aaron Gordon came back to life in a huge way, dropped 30 plus there the other night when they took care of business against the Warriors with the skeleton crew there, as you called it on your show. Yeah, I'm playing Murray and Joker in, which has me soft fading the Westbrook ADP right now. That being said, I'm still taking Luke at 1 and Joker at 2, just because it feels the safer of the two.
I think that's the right way to do it. Yeah, that is how I would play it too. I think he's going to play, and I think you're right that which is also, it just shows you how broken the system is. If they're like, oh well, we might want to rest him in rest spots, so we'll just list him questionable forever. It's like, well, can we if we have these loopholes, why do we have the rules the way we do, anyways? But yeah, I'm with you. I just thought it was such a clear rest spot against the Warriors, and the fact that they were able to steal that win there, that it's like, they're going to play against the Lakers would be my guess. And also, I mean, God, Jokic just in like a god spot against the Lakers right now with their lack of depth in the big position. I mean, Jokic is always in a god spot, but this one against the Lakers, like, holy shit.
Yeah. No, yeah, fully agree there. They are really lacking for size basically now. It's funny that the Lakers, a strength of their team early on this season was size in the center position, coupled with big bodied defensive wings. And the Rui plus AD plus LeBron, and it was like, wow, that's a lot of size on the interior to deal with. And now it's kind of pendulums fully swung the other way without their availability.
Yeah, where they're like, oh, thank God we have Jackson Hayes back.
Yes, exactly. You know what? As much as people kind of dunked on the Mark Will trade there, and then the snip snap of that one, he probably would have done wonders for this basketball team.
Oh, Mark Williams. Oh my God, yeah.
Like,
because I mean, Jackson Hayes, to his credit, has been playing great, but Mark Williams is better at all the things Jackson Hayes is doing.
Yeah. Some good alpha in the chat here from Eggers saying it opened as 2.5 by way of the Lakers. So it's a 5-point swing now between that. So that would be a pretty nice indication that those Q tags are going to go this evening. I think it's interesting to note that the Lakers are on a back-to-back here. They're on the front end of a back-to-back. They're one of 4 teams, 5 teams on a front end back-to-back. I'll give that rundown in half a second here, but they play the Bucks tomorrow. Both games are at home. I don't think that factors into any decision with that Luka probable tag or anything there, but just putting it out there into the ethos for everyone. One of those other teams on front end back to back is the Pacers, and the Pacers rested Siakam last time out, and then Hallie missed with this same Q tag. Hallie Q tag this evening against the Mavs, who are going to get some bodies back, which is very nice for them because they've been extremely thin in recent memory. Do we have a lean on the Hallie situation here, Mike? Or how would you be treating Hallie this evening?
I was going to be pretty hesitant on it because I just was like, man, I think they can win this game without him, and maybe they're like, let's give them another day off. They already got that like surprise win against the Timberwolves, and again, they now have a clear path to the 4 seed after Milwaukee forgot how to play offense in the fourth quarter last night. So I kind of, but then I saw the line shifted from 8.5 to 10.5, and again, that might just be because you and I are playing 18 to 22 minutes for Dallas right now. But I kind of think they're good to go here. Maybe they've seen all of these teams resting their stars and losing games to worse teams, and they're like, all right, let's stop messing around and get them in there. But this morning I thought there was a real shot Hallie might sit. Now I kind of lean him in, but I got Halliburton wrong every single time for like the last 2 weeks. I think that's part of the reason Underdog left New York.
They're the reason. Just interesting to note that front end back to back here, they get Brooklyn at home tomorrow as well. So we're dealing at least with home Hallie in both spots, but of the winnable of those two games, I mean, Brooklyn played tough last night against the Celtics, but it was a full-fledged backup Celtics team. Kind of gave them a fake scare there. I don't know if you saw any of that game, Mike, but D'Lo put up, I want to say 14 threes, and I think 8 of them were in the last 4 minutes as they just traded twos for bricked threes over and over and over again. Like Cam Johnson hadn't taken a shot since like the third quarter. Cam Johnson had like 8 shots or something like that, and D'Lo took like 8 threes in the last like 4 minutes. It was peak D'Lo.
That's why he said he's happy to be back. He missed Brooklyn. He wants that free green light.
Oh man. Okay, just because I've mentioned it a couple times now and want to harp on this one. This is a 11-game slate, but we only have one team on the back-to-back. That is the Cavs. Cavs played last night in LA, and they have Sacramento this evening there. So just a short, whatever hour jaunt. I don't know. You guys, would they take a bus for that, or do you load up a full plane for Sacramento? I don't even know how that travel would work there.
Yeah. Can't imagine it's a bus.
I was about to say, it's like it's so close that it's like the effort to load the full plane, get up in the air, get down again, it would be like the same amount of time.
I can't. I hope it's a bus. I think that's funny if it's a bus, but I can't imagine it.
Junior hockey, all the boys on the bus watching Happy Gilmore.
It's Shoresy. Is it a Shoresy? Yeah. It's the NoHo or no show. The no show.
No show. Yeah, a little no-show with Donovan Mitchell at the front of the bus. Love it. Yeah, but they're the only team on the back end back-to-back. They are the only team who have not submitted an injury report yet. And then
I do think we can see one of them sitting in Cleveland tonight.
Yeah, let's talk about those potential anticipation Q-tags. I don't know how I would butcher that one. Anticipatory. I said it like wrong like 4 times. Yeah. So Mobley obviously came back from missing games there and played 31 last night. He's only sat 1 game out there. If you were to look at this evening at Cleveland without Sabonis, who would potentially be a rest candidate second night back-to-back for them?
Well, I'm wondering if Mobley's still at the top of the key after he got left by Harden last night. That was tough, man.
Yeah. That was vintage Harden. That was vintage.
Sick.
That was old school.
I didn't think he still had that in his bag.
Yeah.
I feel like we're due for a Garland rest, right? I mean, Mitchell missed a handful of games the last couple of weeks. I feel like if there was ever somebody to get one, it would be Garland here. But Mobley, too, just coming back from the injury. And Sacramento also not having Sabonis for a little bit. It would probably make sense. And I mean, they are just so comfortably in the 1 seed, right? Like there's no reason for them to get too aggressive here with their starters' minutes.
Yeah, that's a good shout. And they're going to be playing against like a Hungry Kings team that is on the other end of the spectrum, right? Where they're fighting for dear life for that like 10, 9, 8 in the West there because it's so dense. Is this a game that you really want to, put all 4 of these guys out there for on a West Coast swing? That's a pretty sharp point there. Yeah, I imagine if one of them sit here, the biggest saving grace is the swaps are pretty clean because Jarrett Allen I've yet to see get drafted, and Darius Garland maybe in my first, I think I did 14 or 15, maybe in the first 15 I got him paired with Joker like twice. He went undrafted a couple times.
Nice.
So yeah, Garland's not necessarily a priority for people right now, but he definitely could be if we get slapped with a couple Q-tags here. Here's good alpha from New Jersey Nick. Spread is only -5 Cavs too.
Yeah.
So someone isn't playing. That's a pretty good shout. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that one, Mike? -5, second night of a back-to-back versus this Kings team without Sabonis.
Yeah, I think Cleveland is almost a 5.5 point favorite against everybody in the league right now. It feels like, outside of maybe the Thunder and the Celtics. So I kind of think I kind of think that is what Nick's saying is true. I feel like they're going to be. I think if everybody was healthy, they would be like 8.5 to 9 point favorites tonight, even though they are in a back to back. The Kings. I mean, the Kings, I know they've been playing a little bit better, but no Sabonis. They had somebody named Isaiah Crawford check into the game when another put him on the Marcus Garrett
list.
Hall of Fame. Yeah, I'd never heard of that guy before.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of lean somebody sitting. Maybe not two, but one of them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about that in the kind of game by game of like some other names to get to in that one. But yeah, I'm in lockstep with you there. I've been treating them quite cautiously going through here. The chat's reminded me here, and the platform of Unabated is reminding me that Josh Giddey has already been ruled in here. So this Q tag has now pivoted. So he ends up missing 4 games and now will come back in here, which kind of makes this Kobe White ADP and like the Trey Jones stuff feel considerably grosser. There, would you have any interest in Giddey this evening? Do you anticipate any minutes restriction or anything?
No, I feel like he's probably good to go because they kind of already said he's not going to play tomorrow, right? That he was going to play one of these.
He was going to play
games.
one of the 2. Donovan said, "Yeah,
yeah." And man, Vooch is dust. Vooch is like so.
Tell me, Mike. You know, tell me.
Oh man, dude,
I've been guilty as charged with the Vooch all season long.
Woo! I was gonna ask what his ADP was if he had one. I mean, when I was looking at a couple of his box scores, because admittedly I have not been watching a ton of Bulls the last 2 weeks. I thought for sure he was only playing like 20 minutes each of these games, and then I saw the last 2 were 30. I was like, good lord. But man, against Phoenix, like there should be points galore in this one, and Giddey was playing so good before. I mean, Giddey was like on a full slate was going like 109 before he went down. Or not 109, but pick 9.
Yeah.
So I would definitely. Where was he going? His ADP was like 26,
22 right now.
22. Yeah. I would definitely want some of that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. I think that kind of does it there, unless we want to talk about the Siakam. We kind of did the Siakam and Jamal Murray in tandem with the Joker and Hallie stuff. I guess the Hartenstein one's interesting just because we're dealing with a no J-Dub and no SGA OKC team going against the 76ers here. So, like, I mean, I always joke about the band of projection for Hartenstein that even in a smash spot, his ceiling is 45 fantasy points and likely doesn't matter for us in the last round. But could that not be true this evening when they are so deprived of scoring, I guess?
Oh man, my only concern is like they're still, I think, close to double-digit favorites tonight. That's how bad Philly is, man. Yeah, 12.5. I could like it. Chet's the first guy that gets shut down, but Hartenstein's the second guy that gets shut down tonight, right? Like if this starts getting a little out of hand. But the counter of that, I mean, again, it's like a 6th round pick and it's a pseudo scroll. Like he should have how many rebound opportunities? Like I don't know who's Philly rolling out there at the 5 right now. I think Yabu's questionable, right?
Yes. I think Yabu, I hadn't looked at that injury report yet. I think, yeah, he is questionable there, and they like lack a lot of size behind it. They started the brother of Jacoby Brissett, not actually, but Brissett at the 5 there, and then Alex Reese got some burn as well last game. But yeah, they are, they've been doing some weird stuff at the 5.
Yeah, and to Nick's point too, I mentioned this morning, because I saw Sixers fans really butthurt on the timeline last night, be like, they got to investigate OKC because OKC wants to lose this game so that they have a better shot at getting Philly's pick. So
interesting.
So which I love. I love that this is what we're doing right now. In
great.
Late March during the playoff push, OKC's like, man,
we got to protect that pick. You got to protect that pick. Yo, Aaron Wiggins, stop shooting, man. Stop shooting. Holy, that is some gal brain shit that that I gotta admit that one didn't even cross my mind yet. So oh my goodness. I guess one last one to say here is just that Walker Kessler was ruled out for rest earlier in the day and now has been labeled active, and that goes hand in hand with some doubtful tags on the Wizards now being upgraded to Q-tags. I don't know. There's something funny there that I don't know if the league stepped in and said, "Hey, you guys are both tanking off versus each other. Like, no, 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 no. Someone has to play here, or you guys are going to eat some more fines." I have no idea what to make of it. I'm really scared of Walker Kessler's minutes, but he is, if he keeps getting those 30-31s, we've talked about that matchup versus the Wiz so much that, he could definitely project as a back end play on this slate.
Yeah, I honestly think it was the last slate that I could do in New York was when Walker Kessler was ruled in, and they were like, "Yeah, by the way, he's not
By
going to
the
play
way, it's
tonight."
not going to
And
play. Yeah.
so it's just so scary trying to figure that out. But I mean, because you also won't get a swap if they do that. That was like the brutal part of that.
Yeah.
Because if he goes, for a 6th-round pick, that is smashy. I like that.
Yeah.
Also,
So I think he's going to be worth a couple darts out here, but if he starts getting drafted every single time because of this 42 projection beside him and because of the hashtag models, I think I'm going to it's going to be a difficult fade, but I think I'm going to fade.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's move over to the beautiful unabated interface here. Some of this we've obviously hit on, and some of these games, Mike, we're going to be able to just wave as we go. But Pacers and Mavs, 10.5 by way of the Pacers. This is a 233.5 total. We kind of gave our stance on the Hallie situation, and I guess maybe in tandem with the Siakam there. If you had to just pinpoint which of those two are more likely to go this evening, which would you think?
This is totally just picking shit out of the air, but I think I would go Siakam. Actually, I'm gonna just say they both play tonight. I'm gonna say they both go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you in terms of Siakam more likely. It was personal reasons. It was rest the last time, and then personal reasons as a designation this time. Yeah. Anyways, either way, I think if you want to get to Miles Turner in the last round, he feels fine there. And then this could be interesting for the Mavs because we're dealing with a slate where Najee Marshall's ADP is quite high, PJ Washington's ADP is quite high, but they might be getting some reinforcements back this evening. So we will see. Brandon Williams has a Q tag here. They're trying to manage his contract, basically. But Kai Jones has been listed as questionable, and Jaden Hardy has been listed as questionable. And those are two guys that could both step right into roles. Now, they're not going to be draftable and playable on our site, but just the push-pull impact of potentially them coming in versus Najee Marshall, who was going almost every draft this morning, and PJ Washington, who does go every draft. Any thoughts on this one?
I think I would still get to PJ. I think the names that we rattled off, like I guess Kai Jones coming back could impact him a little bit, but I don't think enough. I do think the biggest hit would go to like a Dinwiddie, who I know like sort of has an ADP, and then Najee Marshall. I think is always because Najee Marshall is not the guy that you're like, oh well, he can get there in 18 minutes. Like you need Najee Marshall playing 39. You need Thibodeau minutes from Najee Marshall for him to get there. But PJ's been awesome. Like PJ's been so good when he's been out there, especially when they've been shorthanded. So I still would want to get to Washington, I think.
Okay, yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. Najee Marshall has been a big faller in rooms recently. His ADP seems a little fake right now. We're getting some alpha in the chat here from the guys who are in the room as we speak that Walker Kessler's going 20th. Walker Kessler's going 19th now. That ain't me. That's I will fully hand up. It looks like a smash spot on paper. It looks great. This tank off bull, I'm a little more skittish than that. I will play some other people in the 6th round from that game environment. I will not chase Walker Kessler up the board like that.
No.
All right, next one here, Mike. We got Rockets and Magic. This is probably I had it as. Let me check. Yeah, I have it as slowest pace on the slate. Lowest total in this 210. Rockets are 2.5 point favorites here. The Rockets were in a gross spot in recent memory against the Sixers, but then found their way going to overtime there. And yeah, just a whole bunch of crazy shit took place in that one. Sangoon kind of like didn't play the whole game there, and they decided to play small ball with Jabari Smith at the 5. And then Tari Eason fouls out, and then Sangoon comes off the bench and then plays the overtime. I don't know. It was just a bizarre run out and sequence of events there. Paulo has been balling in recent memory. So it's Paulo and Franz going almost every single time here. And then on the Rockets side, Jalen Green's ADP is still really high because of the box score lurkers, and Sangoon kind of going in that 13-ish range. Rockets are still without Reed Shepard with the broken thumb and Amin Thompson there. And then on the Magic side, Cole Anthony has the Q tag with that big toe that kind of randomly popped up pre-lock one day and now has lingered ever since. He did not participate in shoot arounds. So thoughts on potential targets in this one, Mike?
Yeah, I think if I was playing tonight would be a game that I would normally I'd probably be aggressively fading, which has proven to be incorrect in the way that I was doing it. So I like Paolo and Jalen Green. I think I got to take an L on almost every single slate, where if I was overweight, I missed, and if I was underweight, they crush. But I don't think I'd want to go full fade on Paolo, and even though that ADP is like tough, but same thing with Jalen Green. I think I would want a couple of shots on it, but overall, I think I'd be more underweight on those guys, just because, like you said, we have 11 games and it's the grossest one pace wise. And I mean, I guess for Orlando, at least it's condensed. And if like Cole Anthony's going to miss, that gives a little bit more ball handling responsibilities, both to Paolo and Franz. So I can see it. And then, I mean, I don't know. You're still taking Şengün if he's there, but and same thing with Jalen Green, but it is a gross spot.
Yeah, I'm fully in lockstep with you there. Jalen Green will be on my soft fade list. Paulo will be kind of 2 places below that ADP, so I'll take him when it's palatable. But I think I like the Suns guys more right now. Yeah, and then I mean, if you want to get to Tari or Fred VanVleet from a rates perspective in the last round, I'd probably be doing it on shorter slates. But at least you can say that this is a tight spread, and they might have to run the starters long there. And Tari looks like he's just doing his best Amin Thompson replacement right now.
He's great.
But yeah, the Terror Twins, man, they are. I think the Rockets, man, if they're fully healthy in the postseason, they could give somebody a run.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I wouldn't want to. I think if I had to pick a team that doesn't win a series in that like 2-7 spot, I'm probably picking them.
Yes.
But
Okay.
I wouldn't be thrilled to play them. Like they are going to defend the hell out of everybody. They've got guys who can. Yeah, they're going to be a really tough out, I think. But
I think the one thing that they would lack come postseason time, when rotations, like their strength of their ball club is depth, ability to defend and switch shit, and to run through Sangoon on the offensive end and play like a little bit slower. Those are kind of like all strengths of their ball club. The problem with that is, where is your ISO scoring showstopper when the lights are the brightest? Because, Amin can't hit the 3. Jalen thinks he's that, but he's not.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like Jalen this year, he's been way better than I thought he was going to be. Like he's been a little bit more consistent too. It's not just like that 3-week stretch we saw last March. So if he can do some of what we've seen him do in the last few weeks in the playoffs, that does change the ceiling for them, for me anyways, a little bit. But yeah, that is going to be when it's like a fourth quarter in a 6-point game, like where are you going to get your buckets?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I do tend to discredit Jalen Green though, so I'm glad you walked that back on me there, because I've been so harsh on Jalen Green this year. Next game on the docket.
I've just taken an L. I said me too, but I've just taken an L on it so many times. I'm like, all right, maybe he's good.
Next one up here is Heat and Pistons. Second lowest total on the slate here. Another one of those pace down spots just in general. Well, we talk about it all the time when the Magic are playing and when the Heat are playing, that sort of deal. Heat's rotation has been really hard to parse through in recent memory, but that's nothing new with Spoelstra, who just mixes and matches. And he's kind of like East Coast Kerr, where he just does whatever the fuck he wants at any given moment with like these fake sharp lineups that it's just like, what are we doing here? But yeah, I mean, can't hate on that because it's worked in the past. I don't know. But the Pistons here giving us their usual injury report with just the G Leaguers and Jaden Ivey leaving the light on for him to come back later in the year here. And then the Heat, same injury report as we've been dealing with in recent memory, except for Alec Burks' out tag has shifted to a Q tag, and Andrew Wiggins is listed with the Q tag here. Usual suspects getting drafted in this one in Bam and Hero, kind of going in those 20 ranges there. And then on the Pistons side, it's just Cade, and it's Cade going early. Yeah, thoughts on this one, Mike, and anybody else we want to be getting to?
No, you named him. ESPN flexing Miami on us is just garbage, man. I can't like this team sucks. I can't believe they're making us watch them on and I see Pitch's comment. Like Detroit finally gets an ESPN game, and it's like, well, congrats, man. We're gonna watch Khalil Ware almost get a double-double in the first half, and then Spo's gonna send him to the locker room. Like this, I hate this team. I honestly would be staying away from Bam tonight too, because Detroit has been pretty dominant against like rim protecting and defending the big. So Hero, I'll always go to Tyler Hero. I feel like he is underrated a little bit, at least from the fantasy perspective this season. So I'd get to Hero, and then Cade. Cade's a stud. But I don't think I'd be getting too freaky there scrolling around. I don't know. Is there anybody you've been getting to?
No, I'm kind of just this game for auxiliary pieces. It's stars or nothing, and I have Bam and Hero pushed down in my stuff right now. I think there's probably an interesting debate on whether you'd rather have 28 minutes of Giddy this evening or 35, 36 of Hero, because their ADPs are side by side. So I do think that one's kind of interesting. I think I'm still on the Hero side of that equation, but I think it's a debate for sure. Maybe Duran in the last round, but you don't love going up against Bam and Ware and that sort of thing. Jaime Hawkes had a really nice game last time out. He started 2 in a row, and I love me Jaime Hawkes, but I do think it might even be a little too thin for this slate, just given total spread game environment.
Yeah. Maybe some Malik Beasley 3-pointer props. That's something I'd be interested in, I think, a little bit later, but that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get to that one with the pick'em stuff there. Next one up here is T-Wolves, 13-point favorites at home against the Pelicans. Man, our Pels, who are slowly becoming no longer our Pels, with a 228 here. They lost Trey Murphy for the season there, so I imagine they ended up starting Jose Alvarado in the second half of that ball game. I imagine we see some of that going forward there. Zion, man, still doing Zion things where he puts up damn near, 44, 45 fantasy points, but still only plays 28 minutes somehow. So Zion is, I don't know, man, down the stretch, he's going to be a tough click if this team, starts tanking and has nothing around him. And, we're begging for that, like, one game where he gets 31, 32, and he breaks a slate for us. And I'm in fear that it never comes, but he's so good from a rates perspective that you can still play him at like 28 minutes. Yeah, they're managing the contract of Brandon Boston, so he's been listed out there. And then the Timberwolves side is clean, just G Leaguers listed. So Ant has an ADP at the front end of draft boards. Zion has an ADP at the front end of draft boards. And then the rest of it is largely going undrafted unless you want to take some shots at like Randall or McCollum or something like that in the last round. What do you feel about this one, Mike?
Yeah, this game's good. This game's pretty gross. Pelicans should have to start playing in like hospital gowns in the way that there's uniforms and the way that they are losing guys right now. The one nice thing about Zion though, man, is like whether that team is in a competitive game up 22 or down 22, he's going to play 28 minutes. Like, I don't know if the Pelicans organization was like, listen, our fans, there's only 12 of them in the stadium. They've got nothing to root for right now. Just let Zion play 28 minutes. So I think that is at least nice. Like, I think you can still draft Zion. I'm not like worried about him getting like an 18-minute game. The Pelicans have at least been forthcoming enough. Like, we'll know if he's playing or not. I don't want to get to a lot of this game. I like even Minnesota. I mean, obviously you take Ant when he's there, but I think getting cute could get you into a little bit of trouble here because like if they get up, 15, you're like, okay, well maybe we get like an extra Nas Reed rotation, but honestly, probably not, right? Probably I just can't see New Orleans keeping this game competitive.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. Like, as much as I'd like to be like, oh, scroll the F down to Nas Reed, I don't even think he stays in for that burn, like north of 25, maybe 28 minutes, even if we get it. And it's just so hard to click his name when like Gobert's back, Randall's back, that sort of thing, right? Like, yeah. The interesting debate here, I guess I could ask you the Cade one going back to the previous game. Would you have a lean between Cat and Cade this evening?
I think, man, I keep waiting for Cat's ceiling, and I don't know if Mikal Bridges like actually got through to Thibodeau or what. But if you look at their minutes lately, man, like I know Josh Hart had a really good game against Miami the other night. That was in like 30 minutes, and like Cat played like 32. Like no one's playing these crazy minutes, and their offense kind of looks a little. I don't know. The only guy who's been consistent really has been OG Anunoby, which is kind of interesting. So I don't know. I'm always going to take the ceiling of Cade, but man, if there was ever a spot for Cat to put up 32 and like 18 or something, San Antonio's got nobody at the 5 right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the hashtag models are going to see it that way, and the hashtag models are going to push up Cat above that. But you're right, man. We haven't seen a ceiling game in 3 months, 2 months, or whatever from Cat. Like Cat was nuking some slates early in the season. There, he was putting up some 60 burgers. It was interesting, very interesting season for Cat from a fantasy perspective, where it was like he looked unplayable at his ADP for like the first 2, maybe 3 weeks of the season. Mm-hmm. Then they're like, hey, man, just fucking shoot the ball, dude. Like, we brought you here to shoot the ball. And then he filled it up and he put 50 burgers, 60 burgers up. And he was like, oh my God, he's the 103 on every single slate. And now it's kind of like the pendulum swung back the other way, despite the absence of Brunson here.
Yeah, and you would have thought it would have gone the other way, but I don't want to be the one making the stance of like, oh, I want to be like way overweight on Cat. I'm putting him 3. Yeah, it's a great comment. I think if Cat's going 4, I'm very comfortable just being like, I'll take Cade at 3 and Cat at 4. But if Cat starts going 3, I don't think I would take him over Cade tonight.
Yeah, I respect that take a lot. Let's talk about the Ant Edwards and the Zion ADPs here, because they're kind of like the only 2 pieces we really wanted from that game. Are you comfortable with them at ADP, or would you like to push or pull them in any direction there? Like, do you like maybe the Phoenix guys? We haven't talked about that game yet, but do you like any of them over them?
Man, no, I think I would keep Ant there. As tempting as it would be to take, man, it is really tempting to take like a KD or Book over. I just don't want to like full fade Ant Edwards, because I do think in 30 minutes he can put up like 45 points, like actual points tonight. But man, that game environment, which I know we'll get to in Phoenix and Chicago, is going to be really, really fun. The other one too with Zion, like I always want to click Zion. I think you could make a case for Chet over Zion, even though we mentioned that the Thunder are maybe trying to lose, so there's some risk in there. And then the only other thing I would throw out there, Tumani's questionable tonight, and if Tumani doesn't go, I mean, Desmond Bane's been freaking incredible with Ja off the floor, even with Triple J back. And you could talk me into Bane there, honestly, ahead of a couple of those guys.
I fully agree with you, man. I've been having a really hard time clicking Paulo and Ant because I'm enamored with the ceiling outcomes of these guys behind. But that being said, I want to hedge my bets a little bit there because I know that the ceiling of Ant Edwards exists as well, right? So yeah, it's a really tough spot to parse through. Going back to the Cat stuff, we got Spurs and Knicks here. There's a 227. Knicks are 8.5 on the road here. Hart kind of goes in that middle third round, as he always does. He never matches it from a rates perspective in terms of fantasy point per minute, but every so often he just does what he did last game and gives you 51 fantasy points in 28 minutes, and he's a lurking triple-double. at any point in time. Dealing without Brunson in this one and a Q tag on Mitchell Robinson, which is just kind of interesting for potential ceiling of cat minutes there. I did note that the last game I watched of the Knicks, it was Cat, the first guy to sub out, and it was directly for Mitchell. So I just found that interesting, opposed to them playing alongside each other in the second rotation. And then on the Spurs side, just Jordan McLaughlin with the Q tag there. I have yet to see a Spur get drafted, but I think Vassell and or Castle are probably viable scrolls in the sixth, but not looking to get overweighted. Your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, same. Like you talking about Mitchell Robinson being questionable has got me. If Cat does start going 3, I think I would say I was maxing in a state that I could do it. I think I would put Cat 3 for like a run or two just to make sure if he was going 3 to get some of them, because that is a really good point. If there's no Mitchell Robinson tonight, that even in limited minutes, I think he could get there. From the Spurs side of stuff, I'm a Vassell truther, but man, it's getting harder and harder with these Spurs rosters to get excited to click those guys. But like you said, I probably take a couple of shares of Vassell and a couple of shares of Castle. Castle's been super fun, and even the other night getting into foul trouble and basically putting zeros across the board in the first quarter. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be awful. And then still, I think went 26-8 by the time the game was over. I'm enjoying the Castle renaissance here at the end of the season.
Yeah, they left Castle in for the garbage time run there, or the first stint of garbage time run there when they pulled everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just speaking to where they're at on him, they want to let the kid play at least there. I do think there was one other interesting wrinkle from the Knicks game last time out was Cat had a similar zeros stat line in the first rotation there, and then came out and scored 16 points in 3 minutes or something from 3. Yeah, it was
He's
wild.
done that a couple of times, man. There was that game against the Celtics. It was a Sunday afternoon game and basically blanked the first quarter. And I was and I think I had bet some unders, and I'm like, this is going to hit easy. And then in the third quarter, put up 12 and 12, in the quarter. I was incredible.
Oh man, that's like that. Yeah, Jeb looks a little different today, but I don't fuck with the settings behind closed doors here. I keep the StreamYard tight, unlike Jet apparently does. Jeff, come on, man. You can't be messing around. My guy's settings.
I love that you saw that. That was great. Great callback.
Let's move on to the next one here. This is the OKC. Are they tanking for the pick? And trying to lose this game actively tonight without SGA and without J Dub. Yeah, we got to have the Grimes conversation in a big way, because ever since minute limit and minutes monitoring season, he has been one of the highest usage players in the NBA, up there with Trae Young and Melo. There was a tweet that I shared on yesterday's show that Winky put out there, if you guys want to go check that one out. But Thunder, 11.5 point favorites. This is a 227 here. Our guy Justin in the chat. Let me see if I can scroll back and find it. Yabu has done this on his social media stuff. He does it on Instagram and on Twitter there, that he tweets out, a similar to the let him know kind of thing, that he's going to be playing basketball. So by the Instalytics metric, it looks like Yabu is going to be playing and starting at the 5, presumably today in that one. Yeah, but Grimes, man, he's got 13 ADP right now. He has been putting up big minutes and big outputs in said minutes. I think people forget that he is still only 24 years old, because he's been traded twice and that sort of deal. But man, it's pretty wild to see that and see him up there with the Senguns and the Hart and the JJJs of the world in terms of ADP today. So let's talk about the Sixers side first there, Mike. Is Grimes draftable at this price? Can we just box score lurk? Is this similar to the Miles Bridges that happened, last week, rather, where it's just fuck it, man, this guy's cooking. The models aren't going to see it. We just got to play him.
Yeah, I think if you look at the guys going behind him in the spots that they're in, I don't know how many more, Jaren Jackson Jr. I'd be very interested in. Halliburton with the Q tag, I don't think that's somebody you would need to move up ahead of him, right? Even Hart, Sengun against Orlando. I don't know. I think I still would just keep going to Quentin Grimes, man. I stayed away from him after the Nick Nurse tweet. and that just proved to be wrong. And like he's just going to play him full minutes. Now, maybe tonight's the night they don't play full minutes. I don't know. But based on the information we have and what we've seen, the Sixers don't have, like, they can tank with Quentin Grimes playing 40 minutes a game. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Quentin Grimes is not going to start getting him W's. Now, tonight, it might be different because it's the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I don't really know. And because of like the pick incentive. So I don't really know how they're going to approach this game, but I don't think I would full fade him, man. I mean, put up 70. Like
Yeah,
a bad game
great.
for him right now is 40 fantasy points.
It's nuts, man. The usage rate is insane. He's been playing so well. I mean, they're going to be without almost everybody again this evening. Kelly Oubre is doubtful. Yabu's trending towards in there if we believe the Instalytics, which I do. And then everybody else, the Bona, the Drummond, all the regular guys have out tags on them. So I mean, I count 10 available tonight. So even if you were gonna take your foot off the gas on the Grimes minutes, I mean, he's still gonna have to play a floor of 30.
Yeah, he's
So
gonna play 30.
yeah, I mean, it's not going to win you a slate if Quentin Grimes plays 30 and they're down by 15 in the fourth there, but he might just stay out there. I think there's probably a little bit of leverage to go to like Jared Butler in the last round or something like that because, you know, we saw some ceiling games from him with Washington in limited minutes in the early going of this season. But outside of that, I mean, Grimes in and around this range. Maybe I don't even like the Yabu matchup, even if we could pencil him in for 30 tonight. I guess it's just Grimes on the Sixers then.
Are you taking Sengun over Grimes right now?
I was this
Yeah.
morning. I thought it would be fake FOMO. I know the Orlando spot isn't as desirable, especially for bigs. But yeah, I was just taking it because I was looking at the box scores isn't telling the full story with Sengun. They're not going to be able to do what they did last game with the play small with Jabari Smith at the 5 when the other side's rolling out Wendell Carter Jr. and Goga. So
And I imagine two projections probably don't have Grimes this high either, right?
Yep.
Like so if he's like if he's is falling a little bit, like I do think I'd probably take Goon over him. I'd probably take, if I thought Hallie was going, I'd take Hallie and Triple J over him. I think I might take him over Josh Hart right now, though, if I'm being honest. I think I would take him over Hart. So I think that's probably, I'd put those three guys ahead of him and then take him there.
You and I are in complete and utter lockstep on that one. I mean, OKC's still good defensively, even when you take J Dub and SGA off the court. So I mean, it's still not like a spot that I'm jumping up and down. Like it's not like if he was playing like the Wiz or something like this, right? Where it's like, oh, we got these box scores, plus we got the minutes, plus he has a smash spot. Let's talk about the other side of that one because I don't know how much we can read into this pick incentive stuff, but yeah, I don't know. The Thunder are going to be kind of one of the teams that are stone cold chalk on redacted because it's going to be a very stars and scrubby affair because we have all these teams that we can spend down to with quote unquote value. But basically on our site, I've only seen Chet getting drafted, and Chet is so routinely paired with Luka or Joker on the left side of the board there that there's definitely some levers that we can pull in going to other OKC pieces with Luka and Joker, or, you know, fading Chet at ADP there, or pulling him to the other side of the board if you think he's going to be in a smash spot and get, you know, 35 plus, which I would love to think, but I don't think he plays north of 30 tonight, and it's going to be hard to pay off this price tag.
Honestly, the more I think about it, the less I want Chet. I am thinking about, like, the run out has to be so perfect for, like, he has to do a lot of his damage, I think, in the first 2.5 quarters of this game to get there. Because if OKC really is going to, if they're going to blow him out, Chet's going to be the first one off, right? And I would say there's still like a 20% chance they are just going to straight out tank this game, then Chet's going to be, again, the first one out. So you really need him to put up basically 16, 12 and have 5 stocks in the first half And that's like the ceiling right there, I think. So I mean, we saw him do this again. I forget who they played without SGA. Was it the Celtics? Who did the Thunder played somebody recently without their guys and Chet popped off. But I just think that extra layer of dynamics of them having the Sixers pick, if it goes, I don't know. I'd just be a little bit nervous. And again, they have like a dozen game lead on the 2 seed. There's no reason for them to push it, you know?
It was the game without J-Dub that they played the Celtics, and the Celtics had Zinger as a late scratch or
Right.
whatever. So they played small, and they played Horford at the 5, which played Chet at the 5, and they played Hartenstein off the bench, which I don't imagine we get tonight. I imagine just because of their lack of depth. I would like it way more if you just got Chet ISO'd at the 5 and he was kind of like their number 1 or 1B option. But I imagine we get Hartenstein and Chet starting alongside each other. If Hartenstein gets ruled out later in the day, the Chet becomes much nicer, but we still have all those same problems you just illustrated for us.
Yeah, I almost I just would be nervous if all of my Joker and all of my Luca were paired with Chet. I
Right.
think that I'd almost rather move Chet up or push him down. Like I think I would try to get pretty different there. I just think I don't know. It's not stable. I don't think that spot is stable. I wish he was getting picked like 14th or 15th, and I'd be a little bit more in on it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Any love for any potential back end dart throws in this game? Because in terms of more condensed rotations, in terms of like a little bit of decent tempo, but not amazing, but just like we could buy minutes in this game. Aaron Wiggins,
Yeah.
Jason Wallace has the Q tag, so like he might not even start there. If Wallace and Hartenstein sit, I mean, you
Wiggins.
could find yourself to like Wiggins or Jalen with a Y, anything like that.
I think Wiggins is a good 6th-round pick right now.
Okay.
I think
I agree.
I'd be getting him right now because if they do start either tanking or running away with it, I would just Wiggins is going to be out there, and we've seen Wiggins will cook, man. He can go out there and score 30 real life points. So I think I'd be clicking him right now.
I think we've seen 260 burgers from Aaron Wiggins this year.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody else I think Jay Will is fine if Isaiah Hartenstein gets ruled out, but I'd almost rather draft Hartenstein and then take the swap, I think, than actually clicking Jay Will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would excuse me, I think that would be it for me from that team.
And I'm just like kind of like thinking through this. If Wallace sits and Hartenstein sits and Chet starts at the 5, Wiggins is a smash in my opinion there, because also the guys that you're dealing with off the bench, like Isaiah Joe, like Caruso, some of these guys, like they're not gonna run those guys full, even though that like even in a spot where they might have to in quotations, because they are like such intricate role players of their going forward. Not that Aaron Wiggins isn't. It's just we've seen them show a propensity to in these spots let him have full run and not those other guys. Like I don't think it really changes the ceiling outcome for those guys, but it changes it in a big way for Jalen and Wiggins.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you because I think with like the Isaiah Joes, you'll see some more like Flagler or Dylan Jones and guys like
Yeah.
that. I think is what we end up seeing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you still need some lead handling on the floor. Yeah, with a guy like Wiggins. All right,
Mhm.
cool. Good breakdown of that one. Good talk through there. Let's move on to the tank off. We got the Jazz 3.5 point favorites at home at mini altitude with a 234.5. Walker Kessler is pushing up in a big way. We kind of had that conversation already in these rooms once he got ruled from resting to in. They're without John Collins this evening. They're without KJ Martin, without Shvee, and without Jaden Springer, which makes them, way more condensed on the Jazz side. But we're still going to have issues parsing through who the handling role is, because we're going to have most likely going to have all 4 of those ball handlers available. And it's just so hard when those ball handlers are available. I think that's why Walker Kessler's getting clicked, is because we see smash spot for a 5 here, and then we don't know who else to click from the Jazz. But I think people think we need to have a piece of this game kind of thing, given the spread, the total, etc. So that's kind of like the Jazz side of it there, Mike. Who would you be wanting to get to? What do we think about Walker Kessler? Do you want this game?
Yeah, I was looking at who's available for the Jazz a little bit more. I mean, I do Walker Kessler at 19. I really don't want, but like 25, maybe I would feel a little bit better about it there. Because I with Lowry being out too, and I missed the Svi stuff, and I saw KJ Martin too. Like Walker's probably gonna play. Like I don't think we're gonna get screwed like we did a few nights ago. I always like if you have to make me pick between Keontae, Sexton, Clarkson, and Collier. Like I'm just always going to click Keontae because I know at like bare minimum he's going to take. He's like Jordan Clarkson from 5 years ago, where he's gonna when he gets on, he's gonna just shoot like 12 times right away. So I think that's where I'd go. But I don't really love it, man. Like you said, with all of those guards being there, it feels like they all play 26 minutes. You know.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. That's the hardest thing with this team. If we get one of those, like if we get a late Q on like Clarkson or something like that, then I feel like way more comfortable clicking in the last round. But I do really like your call on George being kind of like your favorite of that bunch there. I did misspeak earlier that Larry Markkinen is out as well there too. When I was reading off the injury report, I missed his name. On the Wizards side there, Sar is going damn near every draft. I don't know if it's box score watching. I don't know what it is. If it's the newfound 30 minutes that they keep letting the kids hashtag play right now for the Wiz. But yeah, obviously Walker Kessler being in here is a little bit more of a difficult matchup than the Filipowski, who was getting cooked by fives earlier. I do have my Windhurst up here, Mike, because we are dealing with Jordan Poole, who was doubtful previously, now shifting to a Q tag. Marcus Smart, who was out previously with an illness, now being shifted to a Q tag. I'm a little skittish. I don't really want to play either. But
No.
Corey Kispert and Chris Middleton are already out. Bilal Coulibaly out. Yeah, I don't know. They're running out of bodies here, and given the spread and the total of this game, I feel like I want to or should be getting to someone in the 6th round. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
I do like Sar. He's gonna take a bunch of threes. Like he's shooting the ball a lot right now. So I do think I can get there with him. I'm not gonna try to figure out the rest of the Wizards though. I like you said, man. I to just like, are these guys getting ruled in so that they don't get fined? You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm getting a little nervous with. So, and like, what are their ceilings anyways? You know, I mean, Poole for sure. Poole absolutely could get there, but you don't need to mess around with the rest of them.
Okay. Yeah, the only other one that I would throw in is Justin Champagnie. I would take him in the 6th right now, because when he does start, he has shown those outlier ceilings. And if we end up without Keyshawn George and without Marcus Smart and somewhat limited Jordan Poole, where they're not running him over 30 or something like that, and we get 38 minutes in this game from him, I could see it mattering in the last round, but it is still an 11 game slate. So is 42 fantasy points from your last round pick in 38 minutes worth it? Maybe not.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough. I think it's a tough spot to get to.
Yeah.
I wonder though if like nobody's drafting those
kind of the
guys.
marquee.
Sorry. If nobody's drafting those guys, like maybe there is some leverage to taking some of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I there's probably a little bit there, maybe even a little bit in terms of like a little game correlation too. Like if you do like the Kessler Pool thing, where it's like, oh yeah, they're afraid to get fined, so they both play 30 plus, like that sort of thing. So there's a little positive correlation in the outcome of them not tanking versus each other. But it's so fucking gal brain.
Yeah. Too deep.
Yeah, exactly. We got 4 more here at the West Coast. 4. All these games tonight staggered pretty like equally throughout. So just a evergreen reminder when we get slates like this, guys, that where the swaps kind of like an out tag gets dropped, you got to be ready for it at any given moment to swap within these windows of time, because there could be like a player for the 7 p.m. ruled out at 5:05, and then I'm speaking Pacific times and the times that are in front of me right now on Unabated here, and it gets ruled out at like 5:05, you got to be ready to swap that player for the 6 window because there's a game tipping and those will be swapped in that window. So, yeah. All right. Lakers and Nuggets, kind of like the marquee one. We cited the line movement from like the Lakers side all the way to the Nuggets side here, kind of indicating that those Q tags are going to go, or the market thinks those Q tags are going to go this evening in Joker and Jamal. They're kind of the only two getting drafted right now. Westbrook's ADP was really high earlier, kind of as a contingent and some box score lurking, but he tends to be falling in rooms now. And then on the Lakers side, Luka and Austin Reeves are both top 10 picks there. This is a 234 and 2 points by way of the Nuggets. Just to run it down one last time in an official capacity. Where did it go? There we go. Nuggets have Christian Brown listed as questionable, which would factor into that starting lineup and rotation there. So some push-pull between him, Murray, and Aaron Gordon on whether we would find Russell Westbrook starting again. And then that Q tag on Joker for both the right elbow and the left ankle. We've given our thoughts on that. And yeah, nothing else overly to be concerned about on the Lakers side there. Just the usuals with LeBron and Rui out, Trey Jameson for some backup 5 run with the Q tag, but they've been using Alex Lynn instead. Anyways, yeah, thoughts on this one, Mike?
I forgot about the Christian Brown thing. I think that makes Russ's. I know it's like I wish he was getting drafted less, but I think that makes him a little bit more enticing if Brown's not going to go. It just kind of secures his floor a little bit more. And I do want pieces of this game. I think it's going to be pretty high scoring. I almost wish this was like a 6-game slate and we could talk some Jackson Hayes because I actually think he's going to have a good game tonight. But maybe we save that for pick 'em stuff. But no, I mean I think it's pretty like. I think Austin Reeves at ADP is actually something we should talk about. That seems, I think it is tough. I think it's warranted and also tough to click him ahead of the Suns. I don't know where
yes,
you're
I agree with
Reeves.
you fully there. No, I agree with you fully. I had Booker and Durant over him, but I also don't want to get caught full fading. I love the endorsement from Luka for Reeves here. He's like, how'd this guy go undrafted? All he does is drop 30 every night. I mean, like, all you have to do is go back, granted without Luka, but all you have to do is go back and look at this win that they had over Denver when Luka was in, or sorry, when Joker was in there and he dropped 74 fantasy points. Like I didn't know that this was I'm not familiar. Like we've always been like Reeves stands, and last year during the postseason, we were the guys pounding the table for play Austin Reeves instead of D'Lo. He's going to work over him and that sort of thing for those contests. But man, I did not know. This is a not familiar with your game meme here that he had a 74 fantasy output in him. Like,
yeah, it's so funny too. After the trade went down, they're like, "Well, what happened to Austin Reeves' role? Where's he gonna go? Does he even fit with this team?" And like, yeah, man, yeah, he's fine.
yeah, yeah, don't worry about it. He can still hoop. Oh man, and he's just such a good story too. I'm an Austin Reeves guy. Yeah, this is a narrative that I've heard you talk about on your show and a couple other people around the industry right now, that centers versus Denver is a narrative right now that's going around. So that plays into the Jackson Hayes stuff, probably too deep as you alluded to for our slate. Yeah, where would you what would you think between Reeves versus Bane versus Zion?
Man, I think I'm okay clicking Reeves ahead of Zion.
Okay.
I think I'd be bouncing it around a bunch because I think I would want some KD over him. I would want some. I really want a lot of Desmond Bane tonight, so it would depend on like what his real ADP is. I don't know if I need to put him all the way up to like 7. But I kind of I don't want to completely fade Reeves. I don't. I want some shares of him, but I think I want more of KD, even though Book has been kind of a nightmare to figure out. I think I'd want a little bit more Book and I'd want a little bit more Bane. I don't know. Where are you at with that?
Very similar. Very similar. I mean, I think there's still ceiling there even when Luka plays, but I do think it's a little bit of box score lurking here. And if you wind up getting everybody from the Denver side in like, yeah, it's going to play up tempo. Yeah, it's going to potentially play to the total and the spread and be like a good game environment. But I do think there's also like, not like guys who can like bottle them up, but like Christian Brown, I think's like low key, like a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, and they do have
Yeah.
Peyton Watson back too.
Yeah.
That's another guy. Gordon will be out. I mean, not that Gordon's going to be covering Reeves, but I really do think it's bigs that have the ability, or big guards also have the ability to attack this Denver team in a different way. So, but again, I'm not saying Reeves can't go for like 50 fantasy points. Like, I don't think you should be fading him whatsoever. I just like, I would not want to be way overweight on him versus like the 3 or 4 guys going behind him.
Yes, fully agree with you. And if you leave him at ADP, you will be way overweight him.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah. I got okay, let's check this out here for a half second. I know it's something you like to do on your show, bouncing around the ESPN tabs and stuff. I want to look at the standings right quick here because Justin's throwing some alpha in the chat here. Doesn't think people drafting this game realize how important it is for both of these teams to lose this game.
So can
Whereas
I tell you what I think Justin's doing? I think he paused the show. And I think he's at the Philly OKC game still.
He's still behind. He's talking about the picks in Philly OKC. Okay, let's look at this for a second. Because current situation, well, we've talked about like that kind of clump of 4 in the West here that are all separated by a game in Memphis, the Lakers, the Nuggets, and the Rockets right here.
Yeah.
So is the gal brain take that you want to not be the 2 seed so that you don't get the Warriors? Is this the gal brain take right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the only case I think teams would be comfortable playing Houston or Memphis in this range, but other than that, I mean, whatever. No one's going to be thrilled to play Golden State. No one's going to be thrilled to play Minnesota. Like Denver for sure doesn't want to play Minnesota right now. And we just saw the Clippers cook the Cavs. So like, I don't think there is an easy out in that 1 through 8 range. Outside of, again, I think people would be fine playing Memphis or Houston in the first round, but that's it.
This is going to be a great segment when Justin finds out that he was 10 minutes behind. he comes to this and he goes, guys, that's not what I was fucking talking about. Of course they want to win and be the 2 seed.
Yeah, like the Lakers losing this game on purpose to then go on the road in the first round is not. There's no way that's what he was talking about.
Right, yeah. I mean, the West is going to be a gauntlet regardless. Oh, there you go. Pitch said it right at the exact second. West is such a gauntlet, man. Like what we've talked about it with the dance contests and stuff like that, and trying to find wing depth and going to the West for like wing depth coupled with, backstack teams and whatever, because truly, I mean, OKC is the class of the West in a big way. And I do think the West runs through OKC, but like I could paint a narrative for any of these teams winning a 6-game series against any other team.
Also, like, I agree with you on OKC, and I said this morning. Like, hey, OKC, congrats. You won 65 games. Now you get Kawhi Leonard with no back-to-backs, James Harden, Zubac, who's now a walking 2020 guy. Here you go. That's your first-round matchup. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be playing Gideon the Ghost of Vooch in the first round, probably. Like,
right.
It's crazy. And I agree with you. I think you can make a case for everyone. Like every one of those West teams has a bull case and a very clear bear case, like in those teams. And to Nick's point in the chat too. Yeah. Anybody drafting dances right now, God bless you. Cause it is like, I think you either had to draft really early or super late. Trying to figure that out right now. I mean, well, I can't cause I'm in New York, but I don't know how you're drafting those right now.
Yeah, they are tough sledding for sure. I fired one up the other night and I was like, holy shit, this landscape is so different than the last show in which we ran.
Yeah.
Like
maybe it's not game stacks you need. You just go 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 across the board.
Right. Yeah. Just hope we have 3 live in the finals, not even a full lineup. Yeah. Oh shoot. Nuggets side of that one, it's Joker and then the falling Jamal Q-tag. If we knew everybody was healthy and in this evening, where do you think you would rank, Jamal and like those kind of guys? Are they fifth round picks? Are they sixth round picks? Like, what do you think here on this evening?
I think I'd want some Jamal. I know the Lakers have been playing good defense here, but he's going 31. I think that's of that. Actually, I'd put him right behind DeRozan. Like Jamal going behind Russ is hilarious. Like I think I would
Yeah.
have. I think I would have Did I say DeRozan?
Yep. You said
I
right
don't.
behind DeRozan.
Okay, yeah. I was getting. I don't know. I was looking at him. I want Garland ahead of him. Is what I
Okay.
meant to say, not DeRozan. I think I would want Garland ahead of Jamal just because I don't think. Oh wait, hold on. Who did I say I thought was going to sit? I thought Garland was going to sit.
Yeah, you thought maybe it was gonna be finally the time to rest Garland.
Okay, so forget it. We don't have to take Garland in front of Jamal. I like Jamal better than most of those guys right there.
Okay.
I think he plays he likes these moments. He's been shooting the ball a little bit better lately. Again, a competitive game with a high scoring affair. Let's let it rip. Give me the Jamal.
Okay. Yeah, I respect it. I like it too. It was one that I was trying to get over on. I thought the Q was a little bit of a fake Q last time out so that they could get a rest spot after the 5 and 7 days there and then be ready for, national TV versus the Lakers as like kind of circle your calendar Western Conference showdown game. So I've been treating him as in, and anytime Jamal's in, especially with a high total close spread, he is a guy that I will be taking over DeRozan and White and Najee Marshalls of the world. So I was trying to get a little overweight right now, even if it did turn into a swap on an 11 game where I'm gonna have more information later. All right, let's do this. Kings and Cavs 237 here. Cavs road favorites 5 points. We kind of dissected that and talked about how we kind of thought that means that they're going to be sitting, at least someone, or it could be the ramifications of no Sabonis on the other side there. Kings is our evergreen conversation of just take the cheapest one and hope it works out. And that did work out with Malik Monk the other night for me. I guess that was two slates ago there. But yeah, they have their usual injury report here with just G Leaguers listed. And then, of course, Sabonis is listed there. We have not received Cavs injury report just yet. So we're still going to be parsing through the potential rest there. They're the only team back to back. A lot of high ADP, not high ADPs, a lot of ADPs that are getting drafted in this game. Yeah, what do you think about, targets in this one, favorites potentially as I bring up ADP?
Do you think enough people have been burned by Jovel in the last 3 weeks that they forgot that he can get you 50?
It I want to say yes, but then I go into the rooms and he's the guy getting drafted after DeRozan almost every single time. And there people are still now waving Zach LaVine and now waving Monk and taking him over in the 6th round. I do think there's a little bit of leverage because he doesn't get drafted every single time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think people are still chasing that dragon a little bit.
I think I would be still clicking him. I think that's the only one that I really, really like in this one. DeRozan he seems to be the most consistent one, and then you're and then you're flipping coins basically between Monk and LaVine. I like the way that you put it, you just take the cheapest one. But the Cavs got a little bit better with their wing defenders. They have more guys now that they can throw at DeRozan and LaVine. I just don't trust the Monk stuff. I mean, I know he cooked last game, but that truly is the only game he's cooked, I think, since the trade deadline. It's been tough sledding for Malik. I know he had an injury in there too, but I think I would click Jovel.
We hadn't seen a ceiling since the Cat era there. Like literally the last time we saw a ceiling from Monk was when we were dealing with Fox with the mallet finger and Sabonis in and then DeRozan out and everybody else, LaVine not even on the team yet. Those were the last times we saw a ceiling from him.
Yeah. And I see the guy currently in New Jersey is saying he takes DeMar and Jovel and lives his life one Jersey Turnpike at a time.
It's perfectly articulated. Yeah, I mean, that game has a lot of promise. I will like the Joval stuff more if Mobley's the rest guy today.
Mm-hmm.
If they play like the, because he's defensive player of the year candidate and that sort of thing. Like I think, I think I'd like it more. if Mobley's
Yeah.
the rest guy there.
Also, if Mobley's not the rest guy, like he should have his way, right? I mean, Mobley
Oh yeah.
would be a great click. I would be a little nervous again, just off the injury, and then his pride being hurt is tough.
This is great. Justin's playing catch up in the chat, and he was referring to Jazz and Wizards. So the segment brought to you by Unabated of why you should tank in the Western Conference and not win the 2 seed is hereby irrelevant.
I would have been really disappointed with myself if I couldn't come to that conclusion as to why the Lakers should be tanking their way out of a top seed in the West. I was like, man, I can't believe I haven't gotten there on my own yet.
So good. All right, last 2 on the slate here, Mike. I mean, we're dealing with a lot of similar totals and similar spreads with these late night hammers on the West Coast here. These 235s, 236, 237, all 5-point spreads, 4-point spreads, 5.5, like this sort of deal here. This is Suns and Bulls. Giddey is back in. We've kind of talked around it without talking about the game yet, but obviously this is a nice, good pace up spot for both the Suns side and for, I don't want to say it, but for Vooch in the last round. I mean, centers versus the Suns has been a cook spot too here. We're getting Giddey back this evening. From a rates perspective, that kind of hurts Kobe White. So his ADP, or definitely hurts Kobe White. So his ADP is kind of fake. It kind of takes Trey Jones out of our lives in some capacity here as well. On the injury report, let me give it one last refresh here. Still no Bradley Beal and no Grayson Allen and no Mason Plumlee for the Suns there. So Suns could be a little more condensed than usual. Maybe Nick Richards, and who knows, maybe Bol finally ends up starting again there instead of like the Royce O'Neal stuff that they've been doing, or the what's his name? Colin
Gillespie, baby. The Gillespie Hive.
Yeah, Gillespie. Katie's favorite teammate of all time. And then on the other side there with the Bulls, Lonzo is out, Giddey is in, Ayo is still out. Thoughts on this one, Mike?
I'll give away a Badge Bro sub for every 10 points Vooch scores tonight, which will be 1. It'll be 1.
Which one Badge Bros?
I don't care. This is the matchup. You know who's the best big on the Phoenix Suns? I mean, on the Chicago Bulls. It's Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey is going to be a walking triple-double tonight. He's going to have no problem. He'll have more putbacks than Vooch tonight. How about that? Josh Giddey will have more putbacks than Vooch. He's dust, man, and I'm sure he'll burn me, but at least I can't get burned in the lobbies. So, yeah, I love Vooch. I would definitely want some Book and KD tonight. Those I don't think I'm going to get too weird with the Bol, even though we love Bol. I don't think I'm going to get too weird with any of the other fringe guys. But I do. I like Giddey a lot, man. As long as we don't get any weird report about his minutes. I think you brought this up earlier about the ADP of Kobe White definitely takes a little bit of a hit. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Giddey goes like, 14, 14, and 11 while Kobe White goes for 32. This Suns team is not playing defense.
Yeah, no, that's a really good shout there that I think maybe in our game we see this a lot where we give too much credence to an in versus an out and the hashtag models, and like Kobe White will just fall completely out of draftable terrible territory now that Giddey is in, and the push-pull of that shouldn't be as stark. Like Kobe White's still definitely very draftable this evening. Suns side, will you get to anything that is not KD or Booker?
No, I don't even think the Suns will. Like, I think they have a tough time playing 5 guys. Like, I don't know. Are you getting there?
No, I always leave the light on that we could see that explosion spot from Nick Richards versus a bad opposing center, and it's like a nut matchup, or Bol, but I don't think so. I don't think Bol starts tonight. I think they've discovered that he's bad at basketball. So yeah, he was fun for fantasy for 2 weeks, but no.
I do see Pitch's comment here about playing Giddey and White together. I normally don't like try to do too much correlation in these. This is one where you could hit me with a 2-1. You know, like you give me both Giddy and White with the KD or a book, I'd have no problem doing something like that and just hoping that this game goes nuts. So like Chicago is still playing competitive, like they're still trying, and Phoenix also is trying, which is surprising. But the Phoenix has like a backdoor shot here at that 10 seed. So I don't know. I think this could I like that idea.
Yeah, this is the 10 seed battle right here on the Eastern Conference versus the Western Conference 10 seeds.
Well,
Who can
it used to be until the Miami Heat stopped winning games in 2025. Our new 10 seed, Scam out of bio in the Miami Heat.
truly wild. Yeah, we can't do the PRA talk when Nez isn't here, but Egger's just alluding that Kobe White's fallen a little bit in the chat. One other thing that I would say about the Giddy and White together narrative is on our site, it's going to be contrarian because nobody's pushing Giddy up that high and nobody's letting Kobe White, stay there. And you would have to just pair it together on the same side of the board with Joker or with Luca every single time. So I think playing them together, especially on the other side of the board, would be like a pretty contrarian path there. Yeah, the Kobe White PRA one, falling is just a classic. The lobbies were hedging against the Giddy situation, and now it's priced appropriately. So it's kind of like, yeah, you anticipate that, right? Last game on the docket here, Mike. We could be dealing with a Tumani Kamara list, aka to Moncatrals. I don't know. Wow, we've butchered all the potential jail names for our guy Tumani in this one. But yeah, we saw Chris Murray ramp up to like 36 minutes last time out for the Blazers.
Yikes.
Side note. But yeah, 236 here, 4.5 by way of the Grizz. Yeah, injury report is going to matter in a decent way here on the Blazers side there because Tumani Kamara has the Q tag and Jeremy Grant has the doubtful tag already without Time Lord Ayton and Jabari Walker there. And then on the Grizz side, Santi Aldama has a Q tag. Gigi Jackson is on assignment right now. Scottie Pippen Jr. has the Q tag, and John Morant has already been ruled out for this one. Yeah, Desmond Bain, high ADP. JJJ, high ADP. And then you can have any Blazer you want in the last round, including Denny Avdia. How do you feel about it?
I love the Grizzly side of it, especially if we get no Tumani. Like I want a ton of Bane. I know Triple J disappointed a lot of people the last slate. Just give me all the Triple J. That seems to be more of an outlier than what he's been doing regularly. So I'll happily go back to the well on both of those guys. I don't know if I need like where I would get to in Portland. I'm always like a Simons truther. I like to click Anthony Simons, and I do think this is a good, at least from a 3-point chucking perspective, matchup for him tonight. So I feel like he's going to have no problem getting shots up. Memphis doesn't really play defense. If they keep this game competitive, I think it could be. I don't know. I think that could be a fun 6-round, and always Denny. I think Denny is always a good 6-round clip too. We've seen him do like 38 and 10 in a game or something, so you can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is a fun pace up spot for the Blazers, man. I think I would rank it Denny, Simons, Sharp as my 3 favorites. I don't think I'm going to get to any Klingon or whatever in the last round there, but I definitely will get to all 3 of those in the Blazers. And then on as far as the Grizz are concerned, I think it's just Bane and JJJ for me. And I do agree with you that I like them both at or above ADP right now. That's all the games. That was a lot of games. Good stuff there. We got almost 250 of us hanging out, whether it be on the NBA Bit channel, or did you do it on the NBA Bit one, or did you do it
no,
on
I threw it on. I threw it on the old Fantasy Hoops one.
Okay, on the Fantasy Hoops one there, go hit it with a like, hit it with a subscribe, all that stuff. I linked in the top of the chat there, Mike's NBA Bit one there, 5 days a week now on the NBA Bit. Great way to kick off your drafting days there with some NBA Alpha. Go give that a follow and give us a like, subscribe here on the Badge Bros one, please and thank you. While we were talking, or while I was filibustering and such, there I'm going to hop in a Hump Day Hoops for us and see what it looks like on the fly. But we got a little bit of a news dump here just to go alongside That wizard stuff, as we alluded to earlier, it was odd to have some Q tags and D tags upgraded to in tags all of a sudden here, and it's resulted in Jordan Poole and Marcus Smart magically being available to play this evening. But Keyshawn George was ruled out, which kind of probably solidifies a starting spot for Bub Carrington and Justin Champagny. So both of those guys, I don't know, maybe scrolls in the 6th round, maybe just for our pick'em lobbies.
That's such a bizarre set. Like, I don't know what their active roster looked like. Did they have to rule one of those guys in because they were nervous Keyshawn was going to miss?
Let me look.
I don't.
I think I'll look at the injury report here and see how they listed the G Leaguers. They didn't list any of the G Leaguers. Now, I think this is they still had enough bodies without them, because they would have had like Holmes and JT Thor, AJ Johnson would have started, Tristan Vucevic, who played a whole bunch off the bench last time out. Yeah, they'd have 3 centers in Gill, Sars, and Holmes. They didn't have to rule them in. I think these guys got a slap on the wrist from the powers that be, that like, hey man, you guys have ruled out everyone versus each other tonight, and we know both of you want to lose this game, as Justin's alluding to, that we're going to see some funky ass shit in this one.
I like your Champagne call a little bit more now that we're talking through that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a path for one guy on each of these teams mattering this evening. And I think people will want to click on Walker Kessler. They will want to click. I imagine this is cap for us here, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think like today, I would want to be falling in the 2-hole or the 4-hole. Like, I want whoever's left of Cat and Cade. I don't want to have to be the one that makes the decision of who to take where. And same thing with Joker and Luca.
Yeah, I like that shout for sure. I've been fortunate enough early in the day to have some Suns guys falling back to the other side of the board, and I was really digging those 2-hole builds where it was like sometimes like you get JJJ and Bane there, sometimes you get a Suns guy.
Yeah.
All right, we're dealing with ADP right now. Would be Kevin Durant. I think we're both liking him more than Zion this evening, but we did say we like Bane. Do we want to get
fun? If you want to get funky and take Desmond, I'd do some Desmond.
Let's fuck around and find out, shall we?
Yeah, I like that. I definitely like. I mean, I love Zion, but I'm definitely taking Bane and KD over them.
Yeah, I like that. Wow, Eggers saying got KD at like 16 earlier.
Wow.
Yeah, the models always end up being split on who to take between Booker and KD. But I honest to God, I think it's a fine night to pair them together as well, because I think they could both play 39. It's pace up. It's bad defense. These games matter to both teams. Yeah.
And I really don't. I mean, Dallas might not win ever again, and I really think Phoenix has a shot at getting in there. Like, I think I did this on a show the other day. I can't even remember, but I was thinking of Shorzy when except the opposite. Like, we'll never win again.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That's one of the greatest scenes when he goes on that 15-second rant about them hating to they don't love to win, they hate to lose or whatever.
Yeah, this show's elite. I love that show so much.
Me too. It's my life on TV. All right, so we got interesting decision here. Zion almost fell back to us. Grimes goes in front of us. We could pair Hart with Towns, which I don't love. We could play the Hallie Q-tag. We're kind of scared about Mobley.
Yeah. I think I'd go Hallie. I think I would take Hallie here. Take the up.
I do think if Hallie plays the front end of the back-to-back against Dallas, I mean, he's just been so effing good at, I know never Hallie, but he's been so effing good as a distributor.
Feels like it's a relatively safe floor.
There's our guy Nez rolling through the body language models.
Wow.
Not factoring in on KD.
Wow.
We're gonna have the PJ Washington decision, a little bit of game correlation. We could capitulate on Jalen Green, but I think we're both kind of out on the price tag. Donovan Mitchell will age well if we get the Garland out, like you were
Let's
anticipating.
get Spida. Let's get ahead of the news. We're sharp in here. Let's get Spida.
All right, I like it.
Spida's going to be going like 15 in an hour.
Okay, I respect it.
And I'm never Spida. I hate him.
Hate's a strong word, Mike. He's a fun basketball player. I like him from a fantasy perspective. He's really hard. He's really difficult.
If you need someone to score you 35 in a playoff loss, Donovan Mitchell is your guy.
It's so true. I think Donovan Mitchell, the perception of Donovan Mitchell, and this is hard to say because they're the best team in the East right now, yada, yada. But up until this point in his career, what everybody wants Donovan Mitchell to be or thinks he is what Ant actually is.
100%.
Yeah.
That's a great take.
Why, thank you. It's my first one ever.
No, come on now. You have plenty.
Here's our first Walker Kessler sighting at 25 there. DeRozan goes there. I imagine we're going to have the Kobe White decision, the Q-tags, Jamal Murray as well. We could chase the ceiling of Joe Val, a little game correlation there too. Who do you like?
I think I'd be okay with Kobe here.
Okay.
I think I'm fine. 28 for Kobe. I mean, I guess he should be falling a little bit further, but I think I just want some action from that game.
I agree with you. I do think I want a piece from that game most of the time.
Yeah, and I don't really love like a bunch of the guys behind him much more. Like the range we're looking at now, like I would have loved Jamal here. I know you're not a Joe Val guy. I'd be fine with Joe Val.
I'm not a Joe Val guy. I will definitely eat that one there.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't really love anything in the scroll department. I mean, Butler's projection at 37.9. Man, I love this part of the season.
Yeah. I mean, the Nick Smith Jr. and Damian Blau yesterday, just watching the hashtag model bros just jam them at 15 and 16 over and over again at lock yesterday was just peak. Like, oh my God, I love NBA silly season. Like it was good. Just, oh gosh. Pretty fun one there. Cat, Desmond Bain, Hallie getting ahead of the Donovan Mitchell news. They're playing Kobe White as the one-off from that game environment. If you told me you just wanted one piece of Chicago and Phoenix in every single lineup tonight, I would not fault you in any regard. And then Joe Val with or without Mobley feels like a fine spot to get to this evening. That one will obviously age even better. If Mobley gets ruled out, the CLV on this lineup will be pushing north.
Yeah, and I like this is a relatively chalky build, I guess. I mean, we reached a little bit for Desmond Bain. But yeah, I agree with you. I think if Garland does get ruled out, we'll get some good Spider love. And honestly, even if Garland doesn't, that Sacramento doesn't play a ton of defense, so that's still a great spot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll rip one more of those, and then we'll kind of dive into the pick 'em lobbies here. If there's anything that's tickling your fancy, Mike, I know we only have unabated market-based projections to be working with right now. Another 45 minutes time until their tool kicks in. We roll a different side of the board here, like that.
Let's go.
For our friends who are unabated subscribers, there will be no set the screen show today, just because of the crazy news and how deep the slate is. And they're going to do 2 separate write-ups, and they're working still on projections. So we will be your only forward-facing content for the day, which means we have to do an extra good job in this draft play.
I do not envy their roles and responsibilities at this time of year. I feel like, I give them shit early in the season sometimes on certain projections and things. Late season, they're doing the Lord's work because this is when you're like, well, how many minutes is Marcus Garrett getting? It's like, come on, man.
Right. Yes, exactly. Perfectly articulated. Where you have to project out Daquan Jeffries yesterday. Good fucking luck.
Seriously.
Yeah, he scored a career high 20 the previous game, and then he scores 19 the next night, and it's like,
dude.
Are we in Luca versus Joker camp here just because of the probable tag versus the Q tag? If they were both in, who would you prefer?
I think I would take Joker, but I think Luca is the pick.
No. Let's
All
go
right.
with the conviction there.
I
You think Joker's a better play this evening and you think he's in? Let's do it.
I just don't know how they're going to defend him tonight. I mean, we all know Rui famously from the playoffs, the Joker stopper. No Rui, it's just no LeBron. He should just go insane tonight.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with you there. And we know that they have something to play for now that we did all the research.
Oh, that's
um,
so funny.
if I could go back in time and make my name Huge Fish 69, I
That's great.
would. I would.
That's great.
Speaking of Wood, the Wood is in here. If you guys haven't checked out the After Dark with him post Dog Bowl there, I mean, just
Great
does
show.
so much. Yeah, for the community there in terms of the tools that he makes and stuff. It's I use it as a sweat companion almost every single night there. And then Respook is hanging out there. Riley, what's up, dude?
Well,
Uh,
Paolo after Ant. That's interesting. I mean, I guess it's not a big drop, but
Yeah, no, I think you can mix and match those two. I think this is becoming more of the norm here. What David did on the end here is pushing up these Suns guys. I think the models are going to be doing this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Our guy Jeb is rolling through to say 13 drafts, 0 Luca, so 100% Joker sits.
There you go.
We are officially influencers, Mike, because Desmond Bain goes on that one ahead of KD. Zion fell to 16 or 15 in our last draft.
Wow,
Goes at 11
here.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the Chet fade, right? With the 101?
Yeah, I'm good with it. Let's do it. Who do you like most of that next grouping?
God, I think it's Triple J. I think Triple J is my next favorite here.
Me too.
And then I would go either man. Actually, I think I would go Goon. Yeah. Oh, Hallie. Yeah, you want it? We can't do 2 lineups in a row with Hallie, can we?
That's true. Never Hallie. Not on this program.
Yeah.
Now let's do Goon. I think a lot of the box score watchers are going to just see what's gone with these minutes here. They were dealing with 2 teams that were quiet quitting and basically don't have 5s on their roster in both the 76ers and Dallas in 2 of those games there. I thought they could get active rest days for Sengun where they're not deep enough to just be like, hey, fully sit out here, but hey, come and play 20 or whatever. And I thought those ones tonight's kind of the inverse of that in my estimation, where it's like you need the big body on the floor. You can get 35 from Goon tonight.
Yep, I'm with you. I like that's a smart, sharp take. Hey, yeah, and I think Orlando, like if there's one place you can attack them, it feels like it is down low a little bit. So and you don't need like a really super fast paced game for Sengun to get there. And I just like we were talking about earlier, that range I think is really tricky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think that we've kind of seen through our first couple of drafts some clear lines in the sand. The Caden Cat tier, then the Desmond Bain through KD and Zion tier, and then all of a sudden, picks 12 through 21 kind of as a tier, and then all of a sudden you can do whatever you want with the rest of it kind of deal.
Yep.
I think this is where the community is going to start pushing up the Walker Kesslers of the world and that sort of thing. I don't love pairing Bam and Hero together, but I'm fine taking one of them.
Yeah,
here.
I would take Hero in this spot.
Okay.
I think I would go Hero, and then I don't know if we don't want to do Kobe White again. Who do you like most in that range? Do you like jump up and get Jamal Murray with them? Which
I like Murray in a vacuum. I like the most here. DeRozan I like second most. And then I would be totally comfortable putting 2 6-rounders on this team. Like if you wanted to play like the Danny Avdia narrative, if you wanted to play the Sar narrative, if you wanted to take Vooch, like that sort of stuff.
Why don't we grab DeRozan?
Cool. I'm good with that. I think we did see in the previous stint where, I mean, Cleveland's not the greatest matchup in the world for rebounding for opposing wings. because even when you're not dealing with the double bigs, you are dealing with like Isaac Okoro, who's a good defender and good on-ball defender, like that sort of stuff. So it isn't the
Hunter.
greatest like matchup spot in the world for DeRozan, but we did see with Sabonis out that DeRozan had a big uptick in terms of both scoring and rebounding rates in that last stint. So yeah, hopefully one of those Q tags or potential Q tags breaks in our favor with the Sacramento stuff. Because if you end up without, an on ball guard in a Coro on the second night of a back to back, or if you end up without one of the bigs, the rebounding rate for DeMar is going to keep him in a tier above the rest of the Kings guys in terms of projection, in my mind.
No, I like that.
We could entertain this idea if it comes back to us. Our guy Mike telling us, he loves the Garland one. I know we're kind of in the camp that it could be a potential rest spot, but
yeah, but at pick 36, absolutely.
Yeah, we could do a little game correlation with the tail end of the draft there.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Ooh, Shaedon Sharpe. All right, we get some Sharpe action.
Shaedon Sharpe can jump out the gym. Actually, are we doing it? Let's do it.
I like it. I like the Garland call.
Yeah, I like that too. Actually, kind of funny is I when we were talking to Gilbert Arenas and Brandon Jennings at the Dog Bowl there, I said they were talking about like guys who were super like sneaky athletic and guys that could jump right now, and I threw Shaedon Sharpe out because I was like, this guy can jump out the gym. You just don't see it all the time, and he's a West Coast guy. And they both thought I said Shannon Sharpe, and we're like running with this guy. And they're looking at me like all like give me the squint eyes. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? They're like, you're talking about Shannon Sharpe, the football player? I was like, no, man, Shaedon Sharpe, like Portland. You guys, I swear they don't even know who he was.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, you should be like, no, you fucking casuals. I was talking about Shaedon.
It was hysterical.
That's
man.
really funny. It also would have been a great commitment on your part if you were like, yeah, Shannon Sharpe, dude. I've been watching a lot of his YMCA tape recently.
Deep in the archives there. I do see a NBA news alert right now. Scottie Pippen Jr. participated in shoot around right now. So trending in the right direction there. I don't think him or Luke Kennard or whatever were playable on our site today, but it does just, another little wrinkle in terms of handling role. Maybe impacts Bane ever so slightly, but probably not.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Bittersweet moment here to venture into the Pick 'em lobby for you. But is there anything that was piquing your interest? We talked about Beasley threes. We talked about we had a big that we liked.
Let's do Jackson Hayes.
Jackson Hayes.
Yeah. What's it? Yeah, let's start with it. Also, I like that you say this part is bittersweet. Brother, I can't draft either, man.
Get on that fucking train with Nick. You guys will be getting up bright-eyed, bushy tail, 8 a.m. every morning, like you guys got normal, everyday working jobs. You get on the train together. You'll take the train to New Jersey. You'll draft 150, and then you'll come back together. I can see it now.
I think me, Nick, and Viper treat we treat the summer like it's the World Series of Poker in the early 2000s. We get a house on Jersey Shore or something and just grind all summer long, baby.
Oh, baby. That's awesome. We did the house thing in Mexico a couple times. We did the house thing in Vegas almost every single year there.
Oh, yeah.
I did when Vidara first opened, that was our stomping grounds because they were way underpriced, trying to get people to go to Vidara before people knew it was nice. And they would give you block room rates where it was like brand new hotel, $3,500 for a month or something like that. All the amenities and stuff. Yeah, it was awesome.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, Vidara is a gem.
Yeah, it's and no casino, no smoking either. So it's like you come back from sitting in a card room all day and you're just chilling. Yeah,
it's literally why I would stay at Park MGM for Summer League every year, is because there's no smoking in Park MGM.
Yeah,
which is a real old man take, and it's not like I can't be around the smoke. I just don't want to be. It's nice to have a break from it,
Exactly. It's just like that one little window of time to escape.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm poisoning myself the whole time I'm here. No, I'm poisoning myself half the time
exactly.
I'm here. Let's take a look at the Jackson Hayes stuff here. That PRA number, ooh, that looks, I like where you're at on that one. Beasley, just as a guy who's been filling it up from 3, Take a little peek here.
I feel like I might be making this up, but I feel like Miami runs a lot of zone out there defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out our guy Magi because he was the one that pointed out about, I think it was OG and Anobi lit them up for, he's like a big zone killer.
Okay.
And so I clocked that. Yeah, I mean, he's breaking the Pistons 3-point record, right? He's gonna hit 4 tonight.
Let's do
Yeah.
it. I like that.
ESPN game.
Yeah, ESPN game for the Pistons, which we've been longing for. Unfortunate matchup for it, but on our show, we've been longing for some national recognition for both Cade and the Pistons. There, I mean, Detroit basketball.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anybody that you've been excited about?
Let me take a look at the unabated stuff as we go here. Ooh, unabated has launched props 2.0. So I will circle back tomorrow with some new knowledge and information when I mess around with that. Let's see here. Guys are calling Austin Reeves night in the chat. I like maybe a little bit of the Portland stuff. I like maybe playing a little bit of the Galbrain. I know we don't really want to draft from the Washington-Utah game because we're a little scared, but I could scoop a little value in that one.
Star 3-pointers again?
Star threes? Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no to that. Let me think here. We got some gross stuff. We got some campaign lowers. We got some Landry Shamet lowers. We got Quentin Grimes lower on threes.
I listen. I respect it. That's probably the right bet. I'm not touching Grimes unders right now.
Yeah, we're not fucking around with that one. Filipowski showing some edge in terms of the lower on the PRA. If that one's still available, we could take a look. Yeah, I am skittish with what's going to happen here. Yeah, that one's no longer available. It's down to 22.5. Okay. So I am scared of like the Walker Kessler start and sit kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I like where you're at with the SAR one. Let's take a look at SAR here.
If it's still 2.5, I think, and it had some plus money on it, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fun little 8Xer right there. Just those 3 plays. And then maybe we can add 2 more and run it twice.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's add that. Let's do that one for the chat there. Oh, that's such a gross. You got to make it 55. So
yeah, it can't be at a 90. What are we doing?
Yeah, we can't be winning 390 for the screenshot equity.
No, we're adults, man.
Yeah. Drop that one in the chat there. Jeb likes McBride points.
Deucey Deuce. I haven't even looked at any of his lines.
Rocket sauce. Wow, this is truly sick. Ladder to Usu for the Suns. Oh my god.
We can't get to the playoffs soon enough. Although he might be playing in the playing games.
Yeah, he might actually be.
He's a rotation piece.
Drop this. Sorry, I effed it up here by not clicking the reuse players button there.
I thought you were sharing it for me in the private chat, and I was like,
yeah,
how dare you, dude? How dare you?
I was thinking about it when I put it there that was a sick needle. It was undeserved.
Hey, nothing will be worse than the rake back I got today. That really, I had just come to terms with what my new life was, and then I got that buzz. Your rake back's here, and I was like, I got to take a rake to my face.
That's the only rake back we deserve these days. Man, it's crazy to see these PRA numbers for both Joker and for Luka, both at 50.5.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Hey, wait, what if I don't know how spicy we're trying to get? What about a Giddey triple-double tonight?
Okay. Do you think he's got enough minutes in him? I think the fact that they came out and said that, he's going to sit one of the 2 games, and then he was an early declare this evening.
Yeah,
4.85.
If he plays 30, I think he can get there.
Okay,
I don't know. Maybe it might be too aggressive. Maybe just take his PRA instead. I don't know.
Nope, too late. But we like to spice it up. We're gonna run that same 3 core, but then just tack on the Giddey one, and that gets us up to like 60x. That's
free money, dude. It does feel nice building these knowing I can't even chase them. Like I won't even remember what they were. They won't. So whether it hits or not, like I'm living free, man. I'm
okay.
living free.
Here's the deal. If this hits tomorrow, I'm not going to wake up early enough for NBA bit. I always watch it on record, but I'll come into one of the, are you doing a So Rare lock tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Friday. I think so. Yeah. Friday.
Friday. Okay. On
We'll
Friday,
figure it out.
So Rare lock. I'll come through. I'll drop off all the subs. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Well, I'll roll through and drop all the subs for you.
All right.
That's
And a
what we'll do.
reminder too, the Vooch take still stands. So for every 10 points, Badge Bros sub being gifted tomorrow.
Oh, good shit. Guys, in about 27 minutes time here, I will drop another one in the Discord with the first run of unabated projections. If I like what I'm seeing, we'll do that. But yeah, Mike, I think we should tie a bow on it there unless anything crazy is popping out in your mind for a last pick 'em here.
No. Thanks for having me come on. I appreciate this being like the itch scratch that that I need. Since I mentioned it this morning on my show. I can't tell you like just systematically how much this law change in New York or whatever has fucked up my like process of just my day. Just like hours given back. Like I'm gonna have to pay, like I said, either have a child or like go back to therapy soon with all this like free time I have. It's too much for the brain.
No idea what to do with my hands. I have no idea. I have no idea what to do when my watch buzzes and tells me that Jordan Poole is ruled in. I have no idea what to do.
I know. I honestly felt a little like I really did have to adjust my process for like prepping for the show, for my NBA bit show, because I was like, most of my process was setting my ranks up, and that gave me a feel for what the day was going to look like. And now I was like, I was like, I don't know. I guess I got to read The Athletic. Like, I think that's what I have to do now.
That's so good. Oh man. Appreciate you, Mike. Always have a blast with you talking hoops on the show, man. We got to do this a little more often. Not at the expense of Nez next time, but we got to at least get one more of these in before the postseason, or at least if in the postseason we could do one of the daily slates there. We'll run this back again soon. Guys, I know most of you already do this and subscribe to this and participate, but the link in the chat there is to the NBA bit. It is a great way to kick off Monday through Friday drafting on the platform of the people. Here, on behalf of Mike and myself, please hit the like, the subscribe, notification bell before you leave. It goes a long way. It keeps our dogs fed. Everybody's favorite time on the show. The end. Peace.